I think that massive doses of Videodrome signal will ultimately produce and control hallucination. It will shatter your reality.
At the same time, if someone has like a really weird experience they can't explain, I totally understand them like wanting answers. It's just, you know, you need to take a skeptical view towards like your own perceptions sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Not everyone wants to do.
Well, yeah, and you know, that's one thing that I found is one of the differences between sort of more skeptic and skeptic investigators is that I find, and this may sound a bit self-serving, but I think it's true, is that skeptics tend to have more humility. We recognize that we can misunderstand things, we misperceive things, and so I mean I know that very well. Again, I background in psychology. I've researched eyewitness testimony and misperceptions, and I've written about it extensively. So, and that includes me. Like this isn't a third person thing. Like everybody else, like no, we all do this. We can all make misperception, misunderstandings, and so on. And again, it's not bagging on anybody. That's just how our brains work. But when you talk to experiencers, they say, you know, I know for a fact Bigfoot exists because I saw it. I know for a fact that there was a ghost and there was no other explanation. And I have to wonder, like, how can you be so sure? I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're lying, but I mean, you were just so confident. You were so sure that you couldn't have made a mistake. You are just the smartest person. You know all the context. You have all the information, and you're certain that your explanation is the right one. And I kind of admire that certainty. I wish I had that self-assured, almost arrogance. But I would have to say,
I totally get that. That makes perfect sense.
Well,
like,
there's some.
I'm fairly confident that I've seen a spruce tree in my life, but the only reason why I think that I have is because somebody else confirmed it for me. You know, it's like, yeah, how do you jump to this extreme conclusion just based off of
what were you saying, Kara?
Seeing an orb?
Well, I mean, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure I've read like some statistics that sort of bear this idea out of like oftentimes people who are extremely like successful or high achieving or like particularly intelligent can be more likely to like believe in this stuff. And when you like look into it and sort of isolate the variables of like sort of their personality, how they respond on certain tests, the key thing there is essentially like the common denominator is excessive self-confidence, right? Which is, you know, actually really adaptive for a lot of life. You know, you don't get crushed by circumstances. You just keep trucking along. You keep trying, but it also makes you believe in weird stuff because but you might be wrong.
Especially no, you make a good point, and that's especially true because, as I mentioned, and as you all know, most people who report these things are sincere. They believe they saw a ghost. They believe that they're psychic. They believe X, Y, and Z. And again, there are liars and hoaxers and con men, but for the most part, I would say 80-90% of the people that I've met and talked to, they're not lying, they're not hoaxing, they really think that. And so they have that confidence. They're like, yeah, I know what I saw and this and that. And it becomes infectious. Like, well, I wasn't there. They're sure about it. And this can be very convincing to people. And again, I don't want to be in the position of telling people what they saw because I wasn't there. I don't know. All I can go is by the evidence that they offer and circumstantial evidence. Maybe somebody saw something else. Maybe there's a photograph or whatever else, and there's corroborating evidence. But other than that, it's just a personal experience. And you know, if someone tells me they had a personal experience, my answer is great. You might be right. I don't know, but we can't prove that these things exist based on your anecdotes. We just can't.
Yeah. Let's talk about your book for a minute here. We're coming up on the end. Big If True Adventures in Oddity. It won an award for the cover. Is that?
It actually won 2 awards. It was 2 finalist awards. So I've it won general nonfiction and cover design, which I'm especially pleased with because I designed the cover. So
yeah,
kind of cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, you should be. Where's the best place for somebody to get their hands on that?
So, I always try to encourage people to go to the local independent bookstore. I know that, that's not always possible and viable, especially during COVID. But you can find Big If True. It's available on Amazon. It's, I think, an ebook, paperback. I kind of like the paperback, but I like to write notes in the margins, even in my own books, like typo or things like that. But yeah, that's where they can find. Yeah.
And then the website and magazine.
Yes. So people can find me at benjaminradford.com, which is easy to remember because it's my name plus the .com, of course. I have a podcast called Squaring the Strange. Comes out every 2 weeks. We're now in our 5th year, I'm pleased to say. We've got Skeptical Inquirer magazine, of which I am not only a columnist, but the deputy editor for going on forever. I'm on social media, haven't figured out Instagram, but you can find me on Twitter and Facebook if you really work at it.
And Instagram's basically just Twitter with a different audience.
Like TikTok.
Right.
It's Twitter with pictures. Come on.
Right. TikTok though. That's what I like. It's like trying to get on TikTok,
TikTok. Are you 16?
Yeah, totally. The cops would show up at my door and be like, what exactly are you doing?
Yeah.
All right, Ben. Well, this is a lot of fun. I can tell that we can just hit topic after topic. And frankly, I would like to do that again. So hopefully you had some
Get me back on. Let's do this. This is great talking to you too.
All right. And then I'd also like to remind our audience that we had been on before for a show called Bad Clowns. And that was a lot of fun too. So great having you on.
Thanks for having me on. It's fun talking to you guys. I get interviewed by a lot of people, and it's nice to have knowledgeable questions, which is kind of refreshing. So thank you both.
Well, I appreciate that. And if you need a reminder, check them out at benradford.com. And I'm sure you can find links to everything that you need there. And you've been listening to Radio Wasteland. All right. Did I get your website wrong?
No, it's Benjamin Radford. I don't worry about it. They'll figure it out. There's only one of me. Actually, there's a winemaker in Australia who probably is wondering why he's getting all this weird random shit from this Ben Radford guy.
Well, I will fix it. Don't worry. I do some editing after the fact.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. And
this was great.
When you were saying government conspiracies and we could do a whole show about that, I was thinking that's the show we probably need to do. So
sure.
So maybe we'll put that in on the back burner and try to set something up.
We'll cycle back. Awesome.
All right.
Thanks. Take care, guys.
All right.
Bye.
I'm sure you'll agree that the new Westinghouse laundromat with the revolving agitator will wash and rinse your clothes much better than old-fashioned center post agitator washers. And for the best in laundry equipment or any appliance, remember, you can be sure if it's Westinghouse.